Well, hello, Andy Bassist, coming at you once again. I'm going to try and look at this camera because my screen's there. It's all off putting. Back with another video. I have redone my pedalboard, as you'll see in my lovely iPhone. Yeah, as you can see, my pedalboard, put up a picture of it here. It's been reworked. I had some time. I always mess with my board. I can't help it. I sort of moved away, not because I didn't like it, from the GT Core being my amp sim. It still can do that. I'm just got to switch a few little things inside for one of the splits. But basically, I got an Origin Effects bass rig, super vintage, which is basically like Ampeg SVT. And now I use that as my front of house signal that I send. I also have a separate DI, which I'm not going to go into today, which has a meat box from DoD on it. But mainly the rest of it is reverb pedals and fuzz, which is, I think I've got my priorities in line. And obviously I have the GT Core still on the board, as you can see down at the bottom. And obviously you can use that. I'm using that to access any sort of, basically any extra effect that I want. And with it being in a loop of the ES5, I can move it wherever I want, which is very, 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 very handy. Like I say, I've not had this board set up for very long, so I've not got any weird and wacky sounds set into it at the minute. I have kind of got one which is a little odd, which is one where I have the new SL2 slicer from Boss underneath the board, MIDI controlled, so I can turn it on and off. It's only on one preset at the minute. So as I did in the intro, there's some random sounds. I'll just go through the sounds that I've programmed, and I'll kind of show you some of the individual pedals as well, because some of you might be interested. Just do some, random playing on each pedal. I'll shout about what the pedals are. A lot of these pedals have got demos on my board. A few are very new. And I have been really slack on getting around to demos for pedals that I have that aren't currently on the board, because I had to be brutal this time and just take off certain pedals that I love but that were a bit extra. But first we'll go clean sound. So this is using the studio bass preset in the GT Core 1000 and added some reverb from my RV500 because I didn't want to do it all in that one box, and I like my RV500, so I set up a nice reverb in that. Yeah, it's just got a bit of delay. There is a compressor after everything, which is the Origin Effects Kali 76. That just feeds into the bass rig from Origin as well. And you're hearing the DI out, obviously, which has an 810 speaker emulation on it. If you haven't noticed, I'm using my Troy Sanders signature from the lovely people at Fender. Okay, so next one, there's a colour sound bass fuzz under there, so tone bendery kind of thing. That's in a Damnation Audio loop blender, and I believe, I think I've got it going into the Dark Driving V3 from Fuzzerocious, and then again straight out into the compressor into bass rig. and there's definitely reverb on that. Sorry, as I say, I have a real problem when it comes to reverb. I love it. Some hate it on bass. I put like a little bit of reverb. That means a little bit of reverb. To some, it will be a lot of reverb. I fully understand. Okay, so next one is the HM2 Wazza from Boss. Nice and gnarly. Yeah, and then number 5, or the 5th preset in my ES5, is my lovely When the Sun Explodes from Beautiful Noise Effects. But that is being, I believe that's also going into my Dark Glass V3. All of those top distortions that you see are in that ML5 Morningstar looper that's on the top. So you've probably seen the lights flickering on and off in that one. It's because that's MIDI controlled from the ES5 and switches between those 4 pedals. The order is HM2, C Moon, When the Sun Explodes, and then the Dark Driving. And this also has a space echo on it from the RV5 100. Many will say it's unnecessary, and I'm inclined to agree with you, to be honest. But you know, each to their own. Each to their own. Right. So now I'll show you a few more of the pedals, just in the rig, really. And there's one that I've not showed you at all so far, and that is my bong gripper from Fuzzerocious, which lives under the board. Again, that's in a loop blender from the lovely guys at Damnation Audio. It normally lives in conjunction with this little beastie. Sadly, this one is a bit poorly at the minute. It's going back to Damnation just to get fixed and sorted up. They're amazing guys, so it is just freak chance. I think it's literally been abused and been under my board. You know, I think the switch is just seized up on it after being filled with a lot of gig crap and practice and general stomping. So it's not a complaint to Damnation. That will be back on the board, on the top, somewhere, probably up here, in the near future, in that ML5 looper, so that I can switch it in and out, because it is sick. This is the dry signal. There you can hear how much reverb I have. So just for this, I'll turn the reverb off. we've heard the HM2, so we're not going to cover that again. But we'll do it a little bit. So HM2. This is the Sea Moon grind machine, I believe it's called. Should say my Troy Sanders is in active mode. This is passive. Back in active. I'll leave it there. I like it in active. Shoot me. Normally I'm a passive man. All of my other basses are pretty much guaranteed to be passive. This just sounds cool. Active. Okay, so next up we've got the When the Sun Explodes by Beautiful Noise Effects. Love that pedal. It had a bit of a break from the board for a while, but yeah, it's just really cool. And like I say, I have a problem with reverb. Anything reverby, I think it sounds awesome. Okay, and last up we have, like, it's probably the newest pedal, I think. It's literally Fuzz Roach just released it a month ago, or like December. I think it was January. It was January. The Dark Driving V3, like a rework of one of their older pedals. Lot of time for Ryan at Fuzzrocious, and that's why all his pedals are really cool. I've done a demo of that one on the channel. There was something up with the audio, so I want to do another replacement demo for him because it didn't give a true reflection. There were some cool sounds in it, don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit thinner than what I wanted. I think there was a phasing issue going on or something like that. Anyway, unless anyone's wondering what the bass rig is doing at this point, let's go to this lovely gainy sound. if some will hate that anyway. If I turn off the bass rig. It does a lot, being a Klutz and totally forgotten. At the very, very front of the board, it's because it's before like all the meat box random splitting stuff. The right at the front, the first part of everything uses a Pigtronics noise gate, the gatekeeper, and then it goes straight into a Drunk Beaver Effects TS100. Which is like their preamp from a Trainer TS100. I do really like the sound of it with it off, but it just adds a bit more twang and a little bit of top end. Like it's got a bright switch and like full EQ and gain control, and it has a boost in it as well. So. If I want to add a little bit more extra, just to the input, can do that. Okay, so now the pedals on the bottom. So in loop 1, I have my GT1000 core, which for the most part just adding ambient stuff, but it will also do things like this. I realise some may hate that, but that's my dark, glassy kind of sound. Okay, so next one is, as I said, my bong gripper. This is in the loop of a like bypass looper from Damnation. Say that's a V2 as well. I'm a lucky boy, I own 2 of those, so there may be, I'm thinking I might put that second one on the board, just to means I can obviously it's under the board, I can't access it, it's in the looper. When you change anything, it sort of, you need to adjust that as well, how much low end is retained. It doesn't cut a lot of low end, it sounds great on its own, but the bass, the looper just helps with the bass with the low end. This is the colour sound bass does. Greatly approve of how synthy that is. And obviously that's in a bypass looper as well. And number 5 is my Cosmic Trigger from Moose Electronics. That at the minute is set to bring the clank and just cut through in some certain sections that I've been recording and been sort of working on sounds that I want to put into the Moose set list. And I guess the only pedal that you guys haven't seen is the slicer. And that is the new pedal board. It's extensive. There's a lot of crap going on. For some, it's just like that all the distortions sound the same. For me, they all play differently. They all feel different, and I'm lucky enough where I can get away with it. And also, my setup really doesn't take very long. I'm really comfortable that I know if there's a problem, I can problem solve it really quickly if we're playing, and it's not a problem. I don't mind having that many pedals. It's my choice. You know what I mean? It's I'm in a band where the guys use a quad cortex and a helix, so I am the outside freak who's using individual pedals, but obviously I do go direct now as well. I still like to go into an amp sometimes, mainly for just monitoring myself, because you can never really. I don't think you can trust a foldback speaker to give you the full idea of what's going on. But hey, there will be more demos of the individual pedals that are on this board, and the board is a Schmidt Array. For anyone who's looking at them, they are incredible boards. I got turned onto them from guys like That Pedal Show and Rabia Masad from Tosca or ex-Tosca. They are amazing. Obviously, the whole thing is powered, as you can probably just see down there, and you're on my second camera, you'll see it better. A Zoomer and an Ojai from Strymon. There is a few little gig rig, little adapters in there as well. There's a few isolators that help split those inputs down so that just those two power supplies can power all of this. That includes the GT Core 1000. That's just powered using an adapter that takes up 2 of the inputs. Because it needs like 640 milliamps, but everything is just one plug and one jack cable into the side, and then I have 2 DIs that come out that do my sub and my signal out to front of house. So it is very, very handy. Any questions? Hit me up in the comments below, and yeah, cheers for watching, guys. Till next time.